Hello and welcome back to People Skills Pro. I want you to think about a conversation you had recently. Maybe it was on a date, with a coworker, or at a party. The conversation was flowing, you were connecting, and then, suddenly, the energy shifted. The other person's responses got shorter. They seemed less engaged. The vibrant back and forth fizzled into an awkward silence, and you had no idea what went wrong. You probably walked away thinking, maybe we just didn't have chemistry, or I guess they're just not a very good talker. But what if the problem wasn't them? What if you, with the best of intentions, accidentally used a conversation killer? There is one specific conversational habit that is so common, so deeply ingrained in how we talk, that 99% of people who use it have no idea they are doing it. It is the silent assassin of rapport. It's not an offensive word or a controversial opinion. It's a subtle, seemingly harmless type of response that instantly makes the other person feel unheard, unimportant, and devalued. Today, we are going to put this conversation killer under the microscope. We will identify exactly what it is. We will do a deep dive into the psychology of why it's so destructive to connection. And we will give you a powerful, practical framework to replace it with a habit that will make you one of the most charismatic and engaging conversationalists anyone has ever met. This is one of the most important lessons in communication you will ever learn. The core principle, the spotlight of conversation. Before we name the killer, we need to understand a core principle. Imagine that every conversation has a single invisible spotlight. When someone is sharing a story, an experience, or a feeling, they are standing in that spotlight. It is their moment. The goal of a great conversationalist is to keep the spotlight shining brightly on the other person, to make them feel like the star of the show. The conversation killer we're about to discuss is the act of stealing that spotlight. It's the moment you take the focus off of them and put it squarely onto yourself. You might think you're connecting with them, but what you're actually doing is making their moment all about you. The conversation killer revealed. The conversational narcissist response. The conversation killer is this: the habit of immediately relating everything the other person says back to yourself. It's the, "Oh, that reminds me of a time when I," response. It's the "me too" story that immediately follows theirs. It's the "if you think that's bad, let me tell you what happened to me" one-up. Let's look at a simple example. Your friend says, "I'm so excited, I just booked a trip to Japan for next spring." Your killer response is, "Oh, that's awesome. I went to Japan a few years ago. You have to go to Kyoto. When I was there, I found this amazing little ramen shop." And just like that, the spotlight has been stolen. Your friend's exciting moment of sharing their future plans has been completely hijacked and turned into a story about your past. You had good intentions. You thought you were bonding over a shared interest. But the effect is that you made their moment about you. The psychology, why we do it, and why it's so destructive. It's important to understand that people who do this are usually not malicious narcissists. This habit is born from a misguided attempt at connection. Our brains are wired to find common ground. When someone shares an experience, our brain quickly scans its own database for a similar file. We think, if I share my similar experience, it will show them that I understand and relate to them. But here's why it's so destructive to rapport. It invalidates their experience. By immediately jumping to your own story, you are non-verbally communicating your story is not interesting enough on its own. It's merely a prompt for my more interesting story. It makes the other person feel like their contribution was just an opening act. It creates competition. Conversation should be a collaborative dance, not a competition. When you immediately counter with your own story, it can feel like you're trying to one-up them. You went to Japan? Well, I went to the authentic parts of Japan. It turns a shared joy into a subtle battle for status. It stops conversational momentum. A good conversation is like exploring a new country. When your friend said, "I'm going to Japan," they opened a door for you to explore their excitement, their plans, their hopes for the trip. By immediately talking about your own trip, you slammed that door shut and started giving a tour of your own country instead. You killed the forward momentum of their story. It makes people feel unheard. Over time, people who are consistently on the receiving end of this behavior learn not to share personal or exciting things with the spotlight thief. They know that their experience will just be used as a springboard for the other person's ego. It's a lonely and frustrating way to interact. The antidote, the stay in their world framework. The solution to this problem is simple in theory, but requires conscious practice. The goal is to stay in their world for at least one more conversational turn before you even think about sharing your own experience. You must earn the right to share your story by first honoring theirs. Here are 3 powerful techniques to do this. Technique 1, the curiosity question, the "tell me more" tool. This is your new default response. Instead of relating, you inquire. Your goal is to become a curious explorer of their story. Ask an open-ended question that cannot be answered with a yes or no and invites more detail or emotion. Let's revisit the Japan example. Your friend says, "I'm so excited. I just booked a trip to Japan for next spring." Your antidote response, "Wow, that's incredible. What was the number one thing that made you choose Japan? What are you most excited to see?" Notice the difference. You have kept the spotlight firmly on them. You have shown genuine interest in their decision and their excitement. You're inviting them to share more of their story. This makes them feel valued and interesting. Technique 2, the emotion label, the validation tool. This technique involves listening for the underlying emotion behind their words and reflecting it back to them. This is one of the most powerful ways to make someone feel deeply understood. Your coworker says, "I was up until 2 a.m. finishing that presentation. I'm completely exhausted." The killer response, "Ugh, tell me about it. I was up late too, working on the quarterly reports. I'm so tired." The antidote response, "Wow, 2 a.m. is brutal. You must feel completely drained. It sounds like you put a massive amount of effort into that." In the antidote response, you didn't talk about yourself at all. You named their emotion, drained, and validated their effort, massive amount of effort. This simple act of validation is a profound gift. It tells them, "I see your struggle and I respect it." Technique 3, the impact statement, the appreciation tool. This is where you share the effect their story has on you without making it about you. Your friend says, "I finally finished running my first marathon on Saturday." The killer response, "That's awesome. I ran a marathon a few years back. The last 6 miles were brutal, right?" The antidote response, "Dude, that is genuinely inspiring. Hearing you talk about your training and finishing it makes me want to challenge myself more. Seriously, congratulations." See the difference? The antidote response doesn't steal the spotlight. It shines the spotlight back on them even brighter. That is genuinely inspiring while sharing the positive impact it had on you.
So, when can you talk about yourself? This does not mean you can never share your own stories. It's about earning the right to do so. The new sequence for a great conversation is listen, validate, inquire, then, if relevant, share. Let's put it all together with the Japan example. Her, I just booked a trip to Japan. You, that's amazing. What are you most excited about? Her, I can't wait to see the temples in Kyoto and try all the food. You, validate, the food is on another level. You're going to have the best time. You, now share, it actually reminds me of my trip a few years ago. If you're looking for recommendations, I found a little ramen shop in Kyoto that changed my life. I can send you the name if you're interested. In this version, your story is not a theft. It is a gift of value. It is an offer of value that comes only after you have fully honored her excitement. You have earned the right to share, and she will be far more receptive to hearing your story because she feels you have already listened to hers.
So, there it is, the silent, insidious conversation killer that most of us are using without even realizing it, the habit of immediately making everything about ourselves. It comes from a good place, but it has a destructive effect on connection. The antidote is to become a better guardian of the conversational spotlight. It's about learning to stay in their world, listen to their story, validate their emotions, and ask curious questions. Honor their experience first, earn the right to share your own. Your challenge is this. For the next week, I want you to be hyper-aware of this tendency in your conversations, and I want you to practice the one more question rule. Before you share your own story, force yourself to ask just one more question about theirs. This single shift in habit will transform you from a conversational narcissist into a master of rapport. People will leave conversations with you feeling seen, heard, and valued. They won't know exactly why, but they will know that they love talking to you. And that is the secret to becoming a truly charismatic and unforgettable person. If you found this guide helpful, please click the like button and subscribe to People Skills Pro for more practical advice on building better connections. Thank you for listening.